Welcome, everyone. This is episode 9 of Audacity, the Velocity OKC show.
Episode 9.
Episode 9.
We've done this 9 times. It's crazy.
That's right. That's 9 times.
9 times.
9 times.
I'm Kaylee Teresina, Senior Marketing Manager here at the Chamber.
And I'm Nate Fisher. I'm the Director of Communications here at the Chamber. And we're so glad that you joined us again.
We're excited to be back in 2020.
Yeah. So give us a little bit of a rundown on what we're going to talk about today.
We have a really exciting episode for you guys. We're going to have a guest later, Mike Knopp with the Boathouse District. Going to give us a rundown of what's going on at the Oklahoma River, how you can experience that for yourself.
New development.
New things that are coming online there.
BARC.
But we're also going to talk a little bit New Year's resolution update, all the new places that we're going in Oklahoma City.
Right.
Give a little preview of our regional economic development strategy with a new story that we just posted on Velocity. And then we're going to talk about the legislative session, which is about to get started here in the state of Oklahoma. So a lot of fun things ahead and a lot of fun things to listen to on the podcast today.
Absolutely. So yeah, let's talk a little bit about those New Year's resolutions. So what have, we talked about basically, I think the last time we spoke about this was, we were both going to try to extend our, range of possibilities in terms of food-related items.
That's right.
Food-related options here in Oklahoma City. So how have you done in that regard?
Not bad. Like I mentioned in the previous podcast that I pretty much find my favorite places and I keep going.
Right.
But I did expand and went to Social Capital adjacent to Scissortail Park.
Yes.
But I kind of failed because I went there twice. I liked it so much that I went back again instead of going to a new place. But I'm working on it. I really enjoyed it. It was an awesome venue. Great vibe. I happened to go both times before a Thunder game. I wasn't going to the Thunder game, but I just happened to be there at the time. So they have like a Thunder happy hour and a lot of people seem to be like stopping there before they headed to the game to watch.
Oh, perfect.
It was a great location for that. So I really enjoyed it. And I'm hoping, next time we have this podcast, I'll report back with new culinary adventures in Oklahoma City. We'll see if I can live up to it.
I mean, after listening to the last podcast back that we did, I noticed that I talked about beer like all the time. So I made a mental note to myself that I wasn't going to mention anything about beer really. But
they have a lot of beer at Social Capital.
80-something taps of all Oklahoma beer. So it's great.
And as a person who, maybe they do this at all places, I'm not a huge beer drinker, but I only like dark beers. And they have all of them in one part of the menu.
Yeah, right.
So I knew exactly okay, I can choose from this column and I'm going to be happy.
Right.
So that worked well for me.
Cool.
What about you? What have you been exploring in Oklahoma City lately?
Well, we did talk about wanting to go to McNelly's, and I was able to try that and try some of their new menu items. So that was, that's great. So Chamber member McNelly's, definitely go check them out if you have, especially if you have not been for a while. It's a great spot. But I also got a chance to go to Scratch in the Paseo for kind of pre-dinner cocktails.
Nice.
And
Fancy.
so that was really nice, good service and everything. And then we went to Oso for dinner right after that. And that was a great experience.
I've heard rave reviews about Oso.
Yeah. So a lot of really new, cool stuff to try in the Paseo district. So we had a piece in Velocity not too long ago, kind of running down sort of the new food and beverage options there in the area. So we'll have a link to that in the show notes, but that's a good piece to check out if you're kind of interested in some of the new stuff.
Yeah, and you were telling me that there's a new concept from 84 Hospitality coming online in the Paseo. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Called the Little Market. So this is actually right next to Gun Izakaya, which we've talked about before. So if you haven't been to Gun, it's a great experience. So
I haven't been to Gun.
You got to try that out.
It's got to go on my list.
It's fantastic, but they often have quite a bit of a wait, and so it's kind of a neat deal. This is right next door, and you can sort of use it as a little bit of an anteroom to Gun. And so they've got beer and a wine bar, really nice wine bar. But what they're also doing, which is kind of interesting, is it's sort of an incubator space for small local retailers as well. So they're going to have kind of a rotating cast. Right now, they've got a few different vendors in there. One is called the Wag House, and so that's obviously pet-related foods and things like that. Southern Window, which you mentioned that you actually follow them on Instagram.
I've shot from them before.
Okay,
so cool plants, planters, anything related to your green thumb, you can
absolutely.
purchase there.
And then Ray Embroidery Company as well. And so it's kind of a neat thing. And they've got a little bit of a little grocery in there too. And so I know, like, for example, I live in the Deep Deuce area and we have Native Roots. And it's just a great spot to, if I'm on my way home and I think, I need this or that or the other, grab some produce or pasta or whatever I just happen to think of. It's great to have that kind of stop like right there.
So that'll be wonderful for the Paseo.
For the Paseo district,
community.
kind of having, if anybody that lives around there, that's going to be a great little spot to stop at. So yeah, that's cool. 84 Hospitality, chamber member, so that's one of their new concepts as well. So we appreciate that. In addition to, Burger Punk is coming soon, their brick and mortar location. And they're going to be, speaking of Paseo, they're going to be in the old Route location.
I did not know that.
Looking forward to that as well. So 84 Hospitality.
Lots of good things going on in Paseo too.
That's absolutely right. So yeah, let's talk a little bit about, let's move to, from kind of food and beverage to
our favorite topic.
That's right. To the legislative session is getting ready to start.
Equally exciting.
Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? Yeah.
It's going to be so fun.
We wait for this all year long.
Legislative sessions during election years are always
fantastic.
Fun. Always fun.
That's great.
Yeah, that's right. We're actually tomorrow, so as of the date of filming this tomorrow, we'll have our legislative breakfast, and that's kind of like the launch to the Chamber's legislative session, at least from our perspective. It's when we release our public policy guide, and that, for those of you who don't know, it's our playbook for how we approach representing the voice of business at the state capitol every year. So we've had our government relations team, board of directors, our government relations steering committees. They've been working for months to whittle down the list of things that we are going to support and speak out on at the Capitol. And there's a couple of issues, that we know will come up this year. One of those that we're going to strongly advocate for is continued criminal justice reform. That's something that we've had a lot of notable progress in the state. We've had State Question 780, 781. Last year, those were made retroactive. So a lot of great things happening, but still, despite that awesome progress, Oklahoma is still the most heavily incarcerated state in the nation. And that's really, no matter what your feelings are on justice reform and how we approach, crime, it's not fiscally sustainable for our state. We can't afford to continue putting people in prison. So I think seeing some additional reforms there is a priority for the chamber. It's something that we're heavily involved in, and we'd like to see additional reforms taking place on the state level, which will enable us to continue the reforms and the progress at Oklahoma County level.
Exactly. We've made such good progress here locally, and really kind of a model for other cities and counties. What we're doing here is kind of unprecedented, really. But yeah, some extra help from the state on some of some of those things would be helpful.
It'll make a huge difference. And something else that always comes up every year is gun rights. And the chamber has led a coalition of people for the past 5 years to make sure that the voice of businesses, event hosts, and the like are represented in that discussion. The chamber supports Second Amendment. We have no problems with responsible gun owner rights expansion, but you have to make sure that businesses are able to set the limits that they need to make sure that their voices are represented. So we'll continue to advocate for businesses on that issue specifically. Another big one that we always talk about is our continued support for economic development incentives. And we use those all the time to make sure that companies are able to expand, that they're able to relocate here. It's something that states and cities across the nation are using in their toolbox to make sure that they can recruit projects. So having strong and effective incentives is incredibly important to our organization. And we are actually pursuing some amendments to a few of those incentive programs this year to make sure they're continuing to do their intended purpose. So those are kind of three issues that will come up, but like I said, we have a whole list, an entire agenda of things. So I would recommend, if you're interested in that, to read our public policy guide, to go to Velocity and read over some of our agenda, and find what really speaks to you and to your business and to your life, and get involved, be vocal about those issues, because the chamber, we're proud to be the voice of business, but we can't do it alone. We need our members to speak up and to contact their elected officials and make sure that the issues that are important to them are what they're vocal at, and to be involved in the process.
Yeah, so the public policy guide is a great piece to look up your elected officials. And we've got contact information for all those people in there.
It's one of the most comprehensive ways to look up all the elected official contact information. So it's a really good resource if that's something that you're interested in.
So I'll have a link to that, and then we'll have a link to our agenda, our advocacy agenda, in the show notes as well. So be sure to check that out. So this is actually a good segue to regional economic development, because you mentioned the incentives. One thing also we should mention, we also want to make sure that the incentives are performing the way that they need to in terms of return on investment.
That's right.
And so we're absolutely in favor of the Incentive Evaluation Commission that does a good job of checking out like what's really working the way it's supposed to and what's not. We want to get rid of stuff that's not working. But incentives in general are really really kind of a part of the game when it comes to economic development. So if you've ever wondered why a particular business may move to a particular city or not, or a particular area or not, when they're looking to expand or move or something like that, this all comes down to economic development. And generally, the way that it works in the United States these days is a lot of cities and counties tend to come together to have a regional approach to their economic development. And this is something that we've done here in Oklahoma City as well. We actually have a 10-county economic development partnership. So all the entities within our 10-county region of Oklahoma City, so it's a big area, all kind of come together to work together to help each other, recruit different businesses and pursue leads and pursue expansions and that sort of thing. And so you may think that if Oklahoma City, for example, gets a manufacturing plant or something like that, then all the other cities around Oklahoma City lose in that game if it's not located.
But they don't.
But they don't because, primary jobs, the effect of primary jobs, and those are the type of jobs that create wealth in the community that then gets recirculated through other types of jobs, service jobs and retail jobs and that sort of thing. The effect of those is really felt regionally, right? And so even though a plant may be located in Oklahoma City, they've got employees that are living and spending money in Edmond and in Norman and in Shawnee, whatever the case may be. And so that's one of the things about our 10-county region is everybody is very, very mobile and willing to cross county lines to go to work and to go to different places. So regional economic development is really the best approach to something like that. And so we've got a really nice write-up with Richard Clements in Velocity OKC today, and he is the head of the Greater Oklahoma City Partnership.
That's right.
So he's
been involved in the partnership for years.
Right,
Has a great
30 plus years
on
in
all
economic
the things,
development.
on the ways that we work together and what we're doing now. So really good piece on that on Velocity that'll help you understand more about our approach to regional economic development and the role of the partnership in that. Right,
and how everybody works together, utilities, cities, counties, anybody that has anything to do with economic development, we want them to be in our partnership, and most of them are. And so this is, it's really been a successful way for us to recruit new businesses. So be sure to check that out. That's a good piece. So we're here with Mike Knopp, Executive Director of OKC RIVERSPORT. So thank you very much for joining us.
It's great to be here.
Yeah.
We're excited to have you.
I like this.
Yeah,
this is great.
It's a nice throwback to Master. He just lives in my office normally, but brought it out for today.
That's right.
Great,
So we wanted to hear just a little bit about some of the new cool things that are going on down at the river in the Whitewater Center area. We know we've had a few really cool announcements lately, especially in terms of some new development that's happening down there. But before we get into that, you mentioned that you are getting ready to represent Oklahoma City in Denver. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, this is really exciting. I'm going to Denver to the Outdoor Retailer Show, which is the largest outdoor retailer show in the world, really. And so, last year we were recognized and selected as one of 4 cities in America by the outdoor industry, by the Outdoor Foundation. And to really help bolster and build outdoor culture. And so I felt like that was a big milestone, again, for what we've been doing over the past 10, 15 years about being recognized by the industry as a place to engage. And, what we were honestly not the first place they thought of because, but now as they come and when they came and they saw the fact that we really committed to the outdoors and getting people outside and active and just really surprised by it all. But you can go whitewater rafting in downtown Oklahoma City. I mean, that was really shocking. So as part of that, we get to go and present to the outdoor industry at their major trade show, which is what I'm going to do. And I think this just helps reframe and change people's perceptions among the industry. And, I think it can create a lot of opportunity as we go further down the road.
Yeah. So you mentioned that 10 to 15 years ago, we've put in this decade and a half of work. For people who might not be familiar with what Oklahoma City used to be, I mean, how far has the river come in that time?
Well, it was a ditch before. We'll start there. I mean, Oklahoma City was settled on the river, and then it flooded, over and over. We actually had our zoo located there way back, over 100 years ago. But because of the flooding, everything kind of moved away from the river. It was channelized and essentially formed a function as a flood control. We got water out of town really fast, but essentially was a ditch, And so, in the last mainly 15 to 20 years, we've really made aggressive efforts to transforming that ditch from what it was as kind of an eyesore, and I mean, really a dividing line in the city, into one of the world's premier urban river venues. And so I think it's been pretty remarkable. When I sit back, sometimes it's hard to step back and really look at where we've come, but it really has become a national model in terms of how you engage a community in their riverfront. Other cities that have had rivers forever, active rivers, have come here to see that we have really committed to engaging the community. So our focus has been on programming, getting people on the water, active youth, adults, all ages. So our commitment, to river development has really been surrounding getting people on the water and active. And I think as we've seen over the past 15 years, it has allowed the Boathouse District to really grow and thrive. And we've really focused on innovation too, to kind of take these very traditional sports and, because we're kind of new, we can do new things. Like we're the only river in the world to have stadium lights. Right. And so the fact that we do night racing, and that's going to create some new international opportunities for us down the road. And, that kind of thinking has led to these very futuristic, modern facilities, and also, again, thinking outside the box with things like this urban whitewater venue, which is one of a kind. And so I think what we found is now this has become a true differentiator for Oklahoma City. There's nothing quite like this anywhere in the world. And so we can hang our hat on that and be something different that I think is helpful as we, recruit people into Oklahoma City, and also, create new opportunities for people to be active and quality of life and all of those things. So, we really try to, I think it's an economic development tool. We have over $23 million last year in impact, but also, again, what it does just for quality of life. Sure. Having people, get outside, be active, go whitewater rafting, go rowing, getting their kids involved. The $10 million in college scholarships that have now come to children who have gotten involved in rowing and paddle sports wouldn't have happened on our ditch.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I mean, we've come a long way, and we're really excited about kind of the next chapter, and we're already getting that started.
Right. Yeah. So talk a little bit about what's coming up. We see some construction happening and some announcements. So.
Well, people thought when I brought up rowing on our ditch, again, 20 years ago, they thought that was crazy. And then they really thought whitewater rafting was crazy. Well, now we're going to go surfing. So, why not?
Landlocked Oklahoma, let's surf.
Yeah, exactly. So we did break ground this week on Surf OKC, which is going to be this surfing venue right next to the whitewater facility. And it really makes sense. We feel like it was the next logical step, because everything we've done down there has involved it's been active play or active engagement. These are not rides or things like that. It's all about lifestyle. So kids and adults coming out and getting to, get to experience this new surfing venue. It's something it's repeatable. You're going to want to keep coming back and getting better and doing more. And we'll actually have competitions on it. And, it's very spectator friendly too. Just people hanging out watching the wipeouts and all of that. So, but
that's where I'll be.
It also really goes really well with the whitewater, because a lot of people don't realize that, our whitewater is among the most highly customizable venues of its kind in the world. So we can change and tweak all of the waves in the Whitewater Center. And so even in the evenings, like when we do tubing, it becomes a surfing area. And so we're tweaking one of the waves at the bottom, where you will actually be able to stand up on a big surfboard or a stand-up paddleboard and surf in deep water. And then next to it have the surf facility off to the side. So kind of creating a whole surf zone there, which is going to be just a whole nother angle that we can use and leverage this totally unique venue.
So. As a charter member of the Oklahoma Surf team, I'm very much looking forward to the experience.
And it's all ages, and that's what's so cool about it, is intergenerational. Everybody will be able to do this, and that's just one of the things that we've got going. And so we have a lot of other things in store that we're in the planning stages for. Major events that are coming. We're really excited to be hosting the Olympic trials for the second time for whitewater slalom, except this time we're having both rounds in May. So that's really the unique. The first time they've done that, having back-to-back weekends of Olympic trials. So every athlete that will go to Tokyo has to come through Oklahoma City, which means they'll be here for several weeks training for that. So it just furthers our commitment and our engagement in the Olympic movement, really tying us to the Tokyo Olympics, along with all the flat water activities, all our rowers and paddlers that are on the water. So I think that's also very unique. And I think it goes to the authenticity of the venue. We're talking about the fun that we can have and just come out and play and engage. But the fact that Olympians are using this venue is also truly unique.
Absolutely.
And we also have many more things planned, like in the commercial development side of things.
Yeah. So there was an announcement made pretty recently about a new dog park concept called BARC, and you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Well, as an owner of 3 dogs, I'm actually really excited about this personally. But we have been looking for the right first commercial development project for the Boathouse District. It's such a unique venue. We want to make sure whatever happens, it needs to be the right fit, and it needs to complement what we've done. And we think this particular concept is a perfect fit because it really leads. It lends itself to that building and bolstering that outdoor lifestyle culture that we have been developing. And so I went to Kansas City about a year and a half ago and saw this project, this facility on the Missouri River. And I thought, boy, this looks like the perfect fit for us. And sure enough, they were looking to expand, and we got in contact with them, and they came out and they really felt like it was the perfect fit. So they have over 30,000 people a month that go to the BARC location in Kansas City.
Wow.
We think that this is going to be just a tremendous complement again and catalyst for other things to happen down the road. We have really like-minded people coming out, being outside, being active, and then that you can bring your dog. So there's dog adventures and there's human adventures. and I think that's really fun. And it's also year-round, and that's something we're also looking for, is more things that keep people engaged in the Boathouse District on a year-round basis. They're actually going to, unlike the Kansas City location, they're going to have an indoor dog park as well. And the thing that's really exciting about this is it's not just a dog park. It's a really elaborate dog park with adventure features, water features. They have a thing called doggy paddle. Unlike Kansas City, you'll be able to go stand-up paddleboarding or kayaking with your dog.
So cool. Yeah. Awesome.
And even if you don't have a dog, that's okay. I mean, it's got a great restaurant. So the food is excellent. Right. They put a lot of focus on that experience in the restaurant experience. So the food and the bar, which we think will really cater to all the other users in the district and trail users. Right. One of the things that's going to happen this year is the extension of the trail from where it ends in the Boathouse District to the east. So you'll go east, and that will connect with the Katy Trail. And really, when you look at the map, it really makes it to where you can start or end your bike ride in the Boathouse District and go all through the entire city. Right. It becomes really a hub for the entire trail network. So I think that'll be having BARC there will be another great complement, again, for people who want to come get on their bike and go for a ride and have a great place to eat afterwards.
That's great.
Yeah.
So speaking of staying involved in the winter, so I'm participating in the corporate winter rowing league, and so
good for you.
That's right. Yeah, I'm all about it.
It's the serious people that are not just on the water. You're on the earth.
That's right. We're on the earth.
The worst part of rowing. He's doing it willingly.
That's right. But so we're looking forward to the culmination of that effort, which is going to be at the Bart and Nadia Sports Experience.
Yeah. Well, we're excited. This is something we've been working with Bart, Connor, and Nadia for since they began this event, and it's such a great event. Again, getting people active in the winter time doing these activities, and so for those of you who don't fully understand what you do, but you're on this machine, this rowing machine, which is a really key component to the sport of rowing. In fact, all of the athletes get a scholarship. Have to get a certain, they have to work on their time on the machine. So it's a real big part of the sport. So you line these machines up, and it's like you have an indoor race, and you see where you are in the race on the big screen, just as though you're rowing on the river. But you'll be in the Cox Convention Center.
Right.
So, it's a really fun experience. It's challenging and all of those things. But we'll have the corporate league. We'll have our youth teams racing as well. And then, of course, all the other activities of the sports experience. I mean, it's such a great event because there's so many different partners that are engaged in getting people active in different sports. So lots of different organizations represented. So you can bring your kids down, and you're going to wear them out. They're going to do all these different things.
It's so fun.
And then there's a great gymnastics competition going on, a collegiate competition. So it's all in all just a really great event, and we're just excited to be a part of it.
Yeah, and that's February 21st through the 23rd.
Yes.
And yeah, I love the sports experience. I got to try cricket. I'm a little bit of an Anglophile so last year I got to try cricket, and that was really fun. And yeah, it's almost like any sport you can think of. If you want to give it a try, there are representatives out there, and you can give it a whirl. So
that's right.
It's really cool. The other cool thing about the Bart Nadia sports experience is the Runderground.
Yeah.
So if you guys are not familiar with this is a 5K race through the tunnels of downtown Oklahoma City. So that's kind of interesting as well. So lots of ways to get involved.
Yeah, that's right. We're excited about that. We're gonna, one of the other new things that I was going to mention is that we're really harnessing. We've always tried to focus on innovation, as I mentioned, the Boathouse District, and to the extent that we actually had an esports event at the regatta, the 15th anniversary of the regatta in October. So we're continuing to explore those. The U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Committee was interested in that, and we're looking at how do we harness technology to enhance sports performance, but also bring in and find opportunities with these new sports. And certainly is a way, it's the future. And so we have a new thing called Immersion that's starting at the finish line tower that provides VR rowing and paddling experiences, and also some other new kind of esports area in this very futuristic experience. But we're going to bring some of that to the Bart Nadia experience, where you can actually row on the erg, virtual reality anywhere in the world and in space and other things. It makes that rowing experience on the erg slightly more engaging.
Exactly.
It kind of gamifies it a little bit. My son, who's 8 years old, who wouldn't sit on the rowing machine for more than 10 seconds, rowed for 40 minutes straight because he was going through all these wild environments, and so that's something new that we're going to also debut this year at the finish line tower.
That's exciting.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So for people who want to get more involved at the river, what's the best way for them to start?
Well, a great way is to get a season pass. We try to make it very affordable. It's actually 50% off right now. You can go to our website, riversportokc.org.
There you go.
And we're building a culture. We're building a lifestyle, outdoor lifestyle. So we encourage people just to come out and be involved. There's so many ways throughout the year to get active at the river, but just to be a pass holder, and we're, it's hard to believe we're only about 5 weeks out from the season opening, and so it's spring break. And so we're going to have some cool new things that we're going to, again, unveil. We mentioned the surfing, some other things, immersion, and other things that are coming. And so that's a great way to get started, or just come out for the day and experience what we have to offer at the river. We have a lot of events in store, rowing events, Olympic trials, and an international event coming this summer. So we're really excited about that. All the movie nights and things like that if you stay tuned on our Facebook page or our website, you can learn more about.
Very exciting.
Very cool. Yeah. Very cool. So if somebody is sort of, they're curious, maybe their interest is piqued a little bit, from hearing you talk about some of these things, what do you think is kind of the best and easiest way for someone to just kind of start getting involved down at the river?
Well, again, what's unique about this is it's not just an attraction; it's a lifestyle we're creating. So a good way, just come out for the day. If you want to go rafting, it's totally open for everyone. No, there's no requirement for any type of experience. If you want to get your kids involved, or you want to get involved in a program, a great way, just go to the website and you can come out for free for a day, check it out, take a tour. And there's so many opportunities in rowing, paddle sports, rafting, anything, just to get to get involved. And so, the thing is, you can get a pass, a day pass, you can get a season pass, or you can get a lifestyle pass. And the lifestyle pass is really what it sounds like. It means you get to use the fitness centers, you get to be involved getting on the water, you get to use the attractions, the whitewater, the ropes course, the bike park, all of those things. Yeah. But, I think part of it just starts with coming out, checking it out, take a tour, and kind of go from there. There's really something for everyone.
Yeah, there really is. I mean, and honestly, the breadth of things that you can do down there and the fun that you can have, it's
So much
really
fun.
unprecedented. Yeah.
And I always like to point out for people who maybe don't want to get on the water, you mentioned there are plenty of ways for you to enjoy the Boathouse District
Right.
without having to get in a boat or on the Whitewater
Yeah.
Center if that's not for you. So the trails, the bikes, the ropes courses, all of that is available.
Right. Yeah,
Right.
that's right. And we love to get people in the water and in the air, the zip line,
Yeah.
all those things. We're going to actually add some more zip lines in
Oh,
the future.
exciting.
That's one of the things that's coming.
Those are so fun.
And we also, I want to also emphasize that, we have these quintessential team experiences, rafting, rowing, the authenticity of being an Olympic training site, the ropes course. And so that leads itself to team building experiences with your company or getting involved in the corporate rowing leagues or a leadership program. We have all of those things. We have a new leadership program that we're starting that you can really come out and have a really engaging experience, in one of our event facilities, learning about working together and teamwork, and then getting out and having a experience again on the water or in the air on the Sky Trail. And so that's something that if a company's interested, again, there's nowhere quite like RIVERSPORT, and you have it in your backyard here. So we're really trying to
We're
promote
lucky to
that
have it.
opportunity.
It's awesome.
Yeah, you're right. And you mentioned that it's a real differentiator for Oklahoma City, and it's something that's very, very unique to our community. So you guys definitely check it out. It's just very, very cool. So thank you very much, Mike, for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, this was great.
Yeah, well, we'll see you on the machine. On the machine.
And on the river.
Yeah, on the river.
Yeah.
In the spring. Yeah.
There you go.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
So thanks everybody for joining us again for episode 9. We want to give you a little bit of a preview of episode 10. It's going to be a little bit of a special episode.
We're going
gonna
on location.
taking the show on the road. And where are we going?
Coop.
Coop Brewery.
There will be beer.
Coop Ale
He
Works.
said he's not going to talk about beer in this
But just
episode,
talk
but we're
about
going
it
to
again.
go to a brewery for the next one. So really, is he making a difference? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So-
We're going to have a really good time. We'll be able to interview them and hear more about what they're doing at Coop, the armory that they're
the
moving
Army
into.
project especially.
Yeah, that's going to be a big focus. So make sure that you tune in for the next episode, episode 10 at Coop. It's going to be exciting.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys. If you have feedback for us,
There you go.
that's 2 ways to do that. You can email us at networking@okcchamber.com, or if you prefer the social media, then our...
Nate doesn't prefer this.
I prefer the social media. It's fine. It's fine. Whatever you want to do. It's not good for you, but anyway. At OKC Chamber is generally our chamber accounts.
And if you're a fan of this podcast, we would appreciate it if you would leave us a rating, a
Please
review, share it with your friends, because that's going to help us reach more people.
Yeah, we love it. Thank you guys very much, and we will see you next time.
Bye.